This episode of the Shamrock Show is brought to you by the law firm of Scott Camisar and Stephen Reck. Scott is my guy. I recommend him for any of your civil or legal liability needs. If you have a little bit too much whiskey and then you accidentally order a dog online, that's your problem. But if you order the dog online and then a horse comes and they charge you double to send it back, that's when you need Scott. See Scott at the law firm of Scott Camisar and Stephen Reck at stephenreck.net, stephenreck.net.
Welcome to the Shamrock Show. Sit down, have a listen, and go fuck yourself.
The Shamrock Show.
So of all the gear in the world, we're both wearing the same fucking hoodie today.
Right. Everything I have in my closet.
Right. We're wearing the same one. I figured that you would have on the new Roots of Fight Conor gear. That's what I figured.
I haven't gotten it yet.
That's what.
Jesse,
yeah.
We haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah, I haven't. You know, I placed my order, but I figured you had that inside lane, and I figured you had.
No, I do. The seating stuff didn't even come yet. I think it should be any day, but I think the regular stuff shipped. They rushed it. Right.
Yeah.
It was like a crazy rush. So they're selling and making it at the same time. So they're just trying to like push.
That's what's up, man. So before we get started, I'm gonna mix my little cocktail here. I got a little bit of coffee. This glass actually came from that Irish Whiskey Fest. You got me the tickets for the Dead Rabbit. You know, my man.
Yeah, for sure.
My man Sean gave me this. I'm gonna put it in my shot of proper.
I got my glass ready. So whenever you're.
And then a little bit of Irish cream there. You can't go wrong with the Irish coffee to start the day, man. So cheers.
Cheers, brother. Salon.
So I'm excited to have you on, man. It's when I thought about doing this, there's so many different angles, and I think you've got some really cool stuff to do. So why don't you just start by introducing who you are right now, what you are and what you do?
Yeah, for sure. And I know we've been talking about doing this for a long ass time. So currently I am the a sales director in the U.S. for Proper 12 Irish Whiskey, and partners with Conor and the rest of the crew on the project. So I hold the role as a sales director, but also a partner as well.
When did you come into the project? Were you in it from like the very beginning, or like?
No, not the very beginning. I first learned about the project. The McGregor Mayweather fight. The night before, I sat down with Audie and Sean, and we just were going over they were just picking my brain more so about just celebrity endorsed brands, because at that time, prior to this gig, I was running Jay-Z's Cognac, Dussé Cognac for him. I did that for over 7 years. So they were just picking my brain about like the industry, celebrity-owned products, stuff like that. Wasn't a recruiting visit at all. It was just I happened to be out there for the fight, with a buddy of Audie's that worked for Rock Nation at the time. So, and then the year before that, when he fought in New York, when he fought Alvarez, I helped Audie and Conor set up their after party for the fight. So that was my initial introduction to the Team McGregor. And then the following year, when I was invited out to the Mayweather fight, they were picking my brain.
Oh, that's gnarly. So I didn't even know that you were at the Maymac fight. Yeah.
Yeah. When a buddy of mine at Rock Nation at the time, he's a football agent, and he's like best buds with Audie. So Audie got him a couple of tickets. I went out there, actually activated with Ace of Spades at the time. I think we gave away 100 bottles of Ace of Spades Rosé with a customized plaque inside for Conor to all his VIPs that attended the fight.
He had 100 VIPs.
So kind of like a partnership. So that just leads into joining the team. I knew the power of the Paradigm team, and then Conor. Yeah. Obviously being a fan of mixed martial arts my whole life. But I was back. I jumped all over the opportunity to do the New York after party, and then, jump behind him on the Mayweather fight.
Oh, see, so that's really interesting, because one of the things I was going to ask you was if you were a fight fan, an MMA fan, before getting involved with the brand or not, because I didn't know if that was a thing.
Yeah, actually, I grew up on boxing, being from Jersey, and having an uncle that was a pretty heavy gambler. as a kid, I didn't know much, but back then I grew up in a fight game. I mean, I'm dating myself, but I was at Tyson Spinks, all 91 seconds of it. I saw Roy Jones' first fight in Atlantic City. Saw some amazing fights. Just so I grew up on the fight game. Like I saw like Pernell Whitaker, I grew up watching Roberto Duran, because all the fights were at that time, all the big fights were in AC. So I was, as a kid, I was running, just bouncing around with like my, with a book, a pen, a camera, and just like either taking pictures or like getting autographs and watching some amazing fights. So I grew up in the fight. I grew up watching the fight game. So when the UFC started to pop off a little bit, I jumped all over it.
Oh, that's really cool, man. And I was going to reference back, one of the reasons I was asking how early you were involved in the project was the first time I saw the incarnation of this was after the Maymac, but he came out and he was calling it Notorious Whiskey, right? But there was an issue with the name. But I think that Proper 12 is a way better name. I think that it going with Notorious was almost too gimmicky. You know what I mean? I think that Proper 12 lands better. It sounds like a brand of alcohol that's there to stay, not just like Connor's whiskey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just, I just thought at the time I was all in. I was like, oh, that's great. But I think that Proper 12 lands better, less, more authentic.
Yeah. At that time I was like, listen, after that weekend, I hit them up and I was like, if there's something that, there's an opportunity, let me know. I had an unbelievable experience with Jay-Z's camp and working on Dussé. That was, I have nothing but amazing things to say about my time there. The brand that's still, I treat it still at the stores all the time. I always walk the Cognac out just to check it out, see how it's doing. But this was an opportunity just that I couldn't turn down. But yes, I tasted that product the Friday before the fight, saw the packaging, which was really rough. That was like when they were just like, they had worked on it for a while, but they were just like working out the kinks, and the whole team didn't come together. But that's like whenever you start a brand or whatever, you throw all these things out there, and then eventually, hopefully, you come up with what we have, and that's in front of you or behind you and behind me and stuff like that. So. The journey along the way, you go through names, package designs, colors, all that stuff, but eventually it all works out. And then you look at that package and they nailed it. Most is perfect.
Yeah, I agree. So let's backtrack, because
I'm gonna just sip through this thing if you're all right with that.
That's a beautiful thing, man. How did you get linked up with Jay-Z? What was your background going into that? And then how did that project come about? Because how many people are you going to meet in your life who worked their last two things? They worked with Conor McGregor and Jay-Z. It's pretty gnarly. So
yeah, it's a little crazy. I'm lucky in that sense. I've always been in the liquor business my whole adult life. So I was at the time, Jay-Z and his team are opening up the 4040 Club in New York, which is his sports bar / club. I was with Bacardi, and I got introduced to a woman who was handled nightlife in Miami that was going to run the club for Jay. And then I worked with her for like almost like a year to when I went in, when I first met her, I didn't even see the 4040 space. I went into Jay-Z's studio, which was I had no idea what I was walking into.
Yeah.
That was pretty wild. And then over just for like almost like a year, we just worked on the product, and I ended up sponsoring their grand opening with the Bacardi portfolio. And that just built a long-standing relationship with the 4040 team. The woman that I met with is now, I think her title is like COO of Rock Nation. Beast in the music industry, probably one of the most powerful people in the music industry, really, really smart. And I was there for her whole rise. And when they were launching Dussé, she called me in to say, hey, I want to talk to you. I thought it was for a meeting at that time, I was with Jim Beam. And I thought it was like, all right, she wants to talk about maybe, Cruzan rum, right, which is a competitor for Bacardi at the club, or maybe like pour Beam instead of Jack. Like, I had no idea, or like Rossier instead of like, Hennessy. And Jay's business manager too at the time, and they presented me with the opportunity to help him run the brand. I remember at the time I was engaged at the time. I called my girl. I'll never forget. It was raining. I had to go back to Long Island, and I called her from the city. I was like, "You won't believe this shit." And some back and forth. It was like, because like I had a great gig, so she's like kind of like, "Oh, I don't know. What do you think?" And I'm like, "It's fine. It's fucking Jay-Z."
It's Jay-Z, yeah.
I got a call, I think, a few days later saying, "Hey, Jay wants to meet you." And I remember where I was. I was at a 7-Eleven parking lot. I called up my girl at the time, and I was like, "I don't give a fuck what you say. I don't care. Jay-Z wants to meet.
Jay-Z wants to meet you. Yeah.
I'm meeting Jay-Z." So it ended up working out great. Like I said, the time there was unbelievable. Ended up going on like I think 4 tours with Jay, maybe 5. The tour with Rihanna. It took me from my being a liquor rep to like threw me in like I couldn't even like explain it, like a tornado of like different opportunities and stuff to be like went to like someone just pushing liquor, and then all of a sudden I'm on a tour we're overseeing VIP areas and on the floor special viewing areas, and we were just literally just anywhere you move we made sure you were drinking Dussé and poured it down your throat and built the brand that way.
That's awesome, man.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's really dope. And I think they're kind of similar situations where you have a celebrity coming in with a brand into a section where there's already like a really established brand and taking a strong bite out of it. Like when I did the bar in New London, Spills, you didn't get to see it because it only lasted a few months, unfortunately, due to the COVID opening.
Yeah, I was a little tied up there.
Yeah. But the Dussé went really well there, man. People were really digging it. You know what I mean? I was selling almost as much of it as I was Hennessy, and Hennessy is such a long established product. So I'm not a cognac guy, but when I saw the power, I was familiar with Dussé just because I like Jay-Z, so I knew the brand, but I was surprised at the pull that it had even in that spot.
Yeah, it's similar to the fact that they're both in huge categories, but there is one leader at the top. There's like a lot of great brands like in the middle.
Right.
Let's call it is. There's both categories have like 2 monsters at the top. So in that case, for me, it was the same thing. I was like kind of repeating the same thing, celebrity owned brand, going after the big boy,
Yeah.
But both did the same thing, whereas you can come up with packaging, you can come up with like social media, all that stuff. Both brands nailed the liquid in the bottle, and that's beyond the pouring whatever brand. The liquid has to hold up, because you'll get the initial customer, you'll get the people to try it, buy it because of the nostalgic type thing. But to get the customer keep coming back, the product has to taste. It's got to be good. And both are high quality products.
You've locked in with 2 celebrities. Let's start even with Jay-Z, who he's been so consistent forever. Like he has to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, just based on longevity. And he's just never been bad. He's always been good. If he's not necessarily been the #1 rapper in the world, he's living in that, that top space for 30 years now.
Yeah, I mean, they're very similar. Obviously, age is a little different, but they're similar as far as the way they think. They're always thinking ahead. Jay had the unique ability to like just he would see like what's coming up down the line, like not kind of seeing to the future, but his planning, he's always thinking forward. It's not like reaction, like at this moment, how do we react? He's way down the line. So I'll never forget, we had, I tell the story, I don't tell that much, but we were just sitting in a social media meeting, and obviously he runs around, he's involved in so many other projects, so he didn't pop into every single of our meeting, but heavily involved, same as Conor. And he just popped into like our social media meeting, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And we brought him up to into the loop, and he just sits there and he's like, "All right," looks at a picture, he's like, "All right, take that picture and post, if I do say so myself." And we're like, "All right, cool, post it, whatever." And maybe 6 months down the line, I was in Vegas and I got a call saying, "Holy shit, Beyonce just dropped an album. Did you hear the song Drunk in Love?" Went on there, listened to it, and then you hear Dussé is the shit if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
This fucking guy. He's crazy. So his genius to do that. Conor's the same way, and you can see that with Conor and his social media. Everything he writes, everything written, and every image, whatever, that's him. It's his phone.
Yeah.
So they just both have the unique ability to just understand the audience and then see what's the next trend.
So I know you live in New Jersey. You're originally from New Jersey, yeah?
Yeah, I grew up pretty much my whole adult life as a kid. I mean, I say I'm from Brooklyn, but I moved when I was 4. So depending on who I'm talking to, if I got to trying to toughen up a little bit. I'm from Brooklyn.
Wait a minute. I'm from Brooklyn. Yeah.
Yeah. So my Rock Nation days, I was always saying, yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. And they were like, yeah, we're from the Marcy Projects. You're not. We're a different part of Brooklyn. I moved when I was 4 to Jersey.
Well, I've only been to New Jersey once. Me and Melissa went to Atlantic City for her birthday one year, and I thought it was pretty dope. But New Jersey to me is like, it puts out all of my favorite things. So my favorite basketball player of all time is Shaq. He's out of Newark, New Jersey. Yeah. My favorite rapper is Joe Budden. He's from Jersey. One of the best New Year's Eves I ever had was I partied with Naughty by Nature at Mohegan Sun, and those guys were the best. But I always loved Naughty by Nature.
Naughty by Nature for sure.
The Sopranos. I'm a Kevin Smith.
How is it that you're such a big fight fan? You haven't been to Jersey only once? Because back even like as the UFC was coming up, like they had there were some big fight leagues that would fight out of Jersey. I what's the one? Not Ring of Combat. I used to see where I used to go when I lived in Long Island. I trained at Sarah's, so I did jiu-jitsu over at Sarah's, and they had a couple up and comers. But we used to go and watch Quinta fight all the time down in AC.
Yeah, well, they did some WEC cards there, and they did I know Bellator was there at least once, but yeah, I've never been to fights in AC, man. I mean,
yeah,
I've always been spoiled with having Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun growing up here. We've always had high level since, the early 90s, high level boxing and high level MMA events here as well. And then in Rhode Island, there's always a lot more boxing until the last few years. They started doing MMA as well, but there's a lot of combat sports out this way. So yeah, it's never made it down to Jersey, but we'll have to catch something one time.
Yeah, we got some other stuff too. People want to give Jersey a little bit of crap, but we got some good delis out here too. Some good food. It's not bad. Not bad living. We got beaches. It's good living out here.
You also got the Jersey Shore,
exactly.
The show.
That's what I'm saying. Like when I say we go to the Jersey Shore, it's like I grew up in high school, cruising the boardwalk of Seaside Heights. So I can't, knock the show too much.
Hey, listen, and when that show was out and I still had hair, I had a knockoff blowout as well, man. But it was already thinning on me, so it wasn't quite Paulie D status.
Yeah. But my drinking days, we didn't spend time over at not at Seaside Heights. We did more like Belmar, and then Point Pleasant. But it's a good time over there for sure.
So this has got to be a busy time for the brand right now with Conor having a fight next week. He hasn't fought much since the brand has dropped, but do you guys see a big spike in sales when I think he's only had 2 fights since the brand has dropped, yeah?
2 fights, for sure. Obviously the first fight was around our launch, so that was probably that'll go down in spirits industry history. That boom was insane. As you know, it was impossible to even find the bottle, let alone places that carried it. I got so many calls. We're in Vegas, from stores in New York, be like, hey, bars, where can I find bottles? We people are calling it, ringing our phone left and right. We can't.
A quick break for one of our sponsors, beardoctane.com.
I like your beard. Beard.
Check out beardoctane.com or Beard Octane on your favorite social media site for all your grooming needs. That's beardoctane.com. Code Shamrock10 will get you 10% off. beardoctane.com.
Can't find it, and I'm like, I don't even know where to send you, even if you didn't want to, because legally you have to go to a distributor and that whole thing. I don't have to get into the liquor business, but you're not, a bar is not allowed to go to another
package
store.
Right.
But they couldn't even do that. The stores couldn't even they wouldn't even put it on the shelf. They would just hold it and wait for people to call. But there was no reason to put a spot on the shelf at the time, because it's it would just go. So it was they just kept it behind the counter and people would ask, hey, you got proper 12. But I remember traveling after, and customers would be like, our phone, it was like, we loved you, but we hated you. Our phone was nonstop. And he's like, and we just didn't have enough. So that launch was insane. We did, we see an uptick when he fought Cowboy, obviously. I think this fight we'll see, we're already having a great month. I already got some insights from some of the people out in the field. And people are buying already, I think, because now everyone's got to watch. Mostly everyone's got to watch from home. Even in the states that are kind of somewhat open, there's curfews and stuff. So UFC starts late, especially here on the East Coast. So by the time, like here, like for example, like in New York, New Jersey, we're closed at 10. So that's just when the pay-per-view starts,
Right. It's the same thing here, man. So yeah, when I asked you the question, if you're going to see a spike around the fight, I wasn't even factoring in the fact that people can't go out and have events. You're not going to have bars showing it and then doing a proper special and getting the product in people's hands. So
yeah, so I envision obviously a lot of people watching it, like going back to the old days of and I guess if whoever's the CDC is listening to it, watching house parties with the right amount of people, and keep it to your whatever you do. But I think a lot of people are gonna be watching at home, and for us, they grab bottles as opposed to like going to the bar and ripping a few shots and stuff. So I'm pretty sure we'll have a nice month. Rather see it open, but it is what it is.
Yeah, we're gonna. I'm definitely having a few people over the house, but less than whatever the recommendation is. But we'll be killing all these bottles that I got kicking around.
The proper will be flowing, and I'll make sure I'll get you a little care package.
That's what's up. Are you guys gonna be sponsoring the fight? This is gonna be on the logo on the mat.
I don't think we're allowed. I think because where it's at with the alcohol restrictions over there. Yeah.
No, is that because it's?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that over there they're not allowed to promote alcohol.
No, is that because it's like it's a Muslim country and they don't drink? Is that the thing?
I believe it's something like that. Yep.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll obviously do a ton of stuff around it. I just don't think you'll be accustomed to seeing it in the center of the cage. We'll get it next fight.
Well, you guys have been huge with boxing. I can't get over the amount of marketing and ring space you guys have had, especially for that big heavyweight fight, man. I was like, holy shit, man. I think that was the first time I saw that blue ring like that laid out. It looked awesome, man. You guys, are getting the views for sure.
Yeah, the fight game is like a natural business for us. It's like the fight community has been amazing to the brand from day one, obviously, due to our owner, but even like outside of the UFC world, the boxing space, fight fans have been great, and people are always like showing their bottles. You scroll through social media, people are always like, "Hey, fight night, got my proper ready," all that stuff, or "We're drinking proper tonight, proper fight night." So, yeah, it's a no-brainer to stay in that space and then branch out.
Well, the social media with the brand is great too. One, they repost and share a lot of stuff, which
they're a good team.
That builds loyalty to the brand. I think when people are like, "Oh shit," they'll take the screenshot that they were on the proper 12 story, and think the drink recipes I think is really important. You guys show a lot of different ways to drink the proper, because not everyone thinks they like whiskey. Everyone likes whiskey. It's not they don't know that they like whiskey, because it can go with just about anything. Like that proper frozen lemonade, dude. Like I can put anyone onto no matter if you're a cosmopolitan drinker, you only drink seltzer. Come here, and I'll make you something with proper 12. And I think that's what's really impressive about the social media, because like you guys came out with that what do you call it with the orange soda? The
Blitz.
The Blitz, and that is incredible.
Connor did that. That was Connor's drink.
Yeah, and everyone I've put onto that is like, you wouldn't think Irish whiskey and orange soda, but it's an absolute hit.
Yeah, it's listen, it's a versatile whiskey. Like you can drink it straight, like I am doing, like no ice, nothing. Put in a few cubes. You can rip a shot. You can mix it with cola, with your traditional ginger ale. Put it in an Irish coffee. And then you want to get super creative with it. It makes a badass old fashioned. So it's really like how you want to drink it. It's an approachable drinking whiskey, and that's how we go about promoting it. But our marketing team is awesome. The way they run it, and it's almost like I would guess it's like how Conor's is. It's all about the fans. It's all about our supporters. So why not give back?
Right, and that was the other thing I was gonna say is on top of Proper being like so fan friendly, Conor will share. He'll go on streaks like one day. Like I've been off Instagram for a while, but when I was still on, like he'll just post. Like he'll spend like an hour posting everybody who's posted a picture of or a video with Proper 12 in it in like the last 6 days. He just goes nuts sharing it. And I know people like so when I would post from the bar and he would share it, the waitresses would go nuts. They're like, oh my God, we're on Conor McGregor's story, And I think that also is such an organic tool that's going to continue to get people buying the brand. To have him so hands-on with it is, or at least with the marketing aspect of it.
Yeah, listen, trust me, it helps my job knowing that if bars push it and promote it, I can look them in the eye. Trust me, like he sees it, he'll support, he'll share, which he does. So I mean, for a guy in sales, it makes my life so much easier. It's a great tool, social media in that way with the brand building. I get why. I'm curious to see how being off it for you has been, because we all need like a little bit of break because it's a crazy world there. Unfortunately, sometimes, as you know, when you run the bar or you have the bar and stuff, where you're promoting a show, it's sometimes you can't get off it. It's kind of like a way to promote. It's a crazy space out there right now.
Yeah, and that's I feel like I keep talking about it, but I feel it's been such a change in my life to be off of social media. There's definitely the negatives to it. Like one, I like showing people Conor follows me on the gram. It's like dope to show people that, and when I'm trying to get guests on the podcast too, like I have a lot of like different, especially in the MMA world, like Bellator follows me and like a lot of blue checks. So it's like, if I want to slide into some celebrity's DM, be like, hey, you want to come on my show? It sucks, one, not even having the ability to do that because of Instagram, but not having, what I would consider a resume, because I've got not like a celebrity, but I got like 5,000 followers and a lot of blue checks. So it's like, oh, this guy, people fuck with this guy. So we'll do a show, there's a loss there. And then, there's certain people who I only communicated with through Instagram. So it's like, oh, I don't know what they're up to. I don't see what they're up to, but as a net whole, it's been better for me. I'm not on my phone as much, and I'm just not so distracted. And I've been reading, like I've said before, I've been reading a lot because like at night, normally I'd go to bed and I'd scroll on Instagram for 2 hours, but now I'm like ripping through like 3 books a month because I'm just reading.
That's cool. Nice.
Yeah, it's just something different, man. But I was talking to somebody recently on my podcast, and he said, with social media, just make sure you're getting more than you're giving. You don't want to get on there and get angry and give of yourself, and you should be getting business out of it or relationships out of it. If you're ever not giving, if you're ever giving more than you're getting, that's when it's time to cut off. And I think that's what it was for me. I'm sure I'll go back on at some point, but right now it's just I'm good.
Yeah, I hear people say, oh, you almost feel guilty, or they'll say, oh, I'm taking a break, whatever. And it's like, do you? Sometimes you got to take a break for 2 hours, take a break for 2 hours. You got to take a break for 2 months, take a break for 2 months. There's no science to it. It's got, you got to do what's best for either yourself or give it a try sometimes to see how it feels to be like, all right, there are days where I see myself on my phone too much, and I'm like, fuck it. I'll delete apps. I'll delete Instagram. Right? So I'm not deleting my account, but I'll just get it off my phone. So I don't have to, I'm not reaching. And then you realize like, oh shit, like you reach for it for no reason. But you just got to figure out what's best for you.
So staying on the social media topic, how has, I've only known you since working with Conor, but you've been working with Conor and then Jay-Z. How has that storm affected you? Because that's like how I found you, my boy Dirham, when Proper 12 was first coming out. Dirham from 40 Thieves, and he was like, "Yo, I saw this guy. He's involved with Proper," and he's like, "I remember him from Dussé because Dirham used to work with a guy called Sycamore. He's in the hip hop, and so I reached out to you. I was like, hey man, I got this bar in Connecticut, and that's we kind of linked up from that way. With you being so attached to Conor, like." You've been to some big events with him. You were on the field at the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
And then like that big St. Patrick's Day parade back when those used to exist before quarantine.
Did like 2 tours with Conor for the brand, like two big city tours. Like we hit, I think the first one we hit like 14 cities in 11 days. And then the other one where I think it was like 4 or 5 cities in 4 days. So yeah, to had some cool opportunities behind the scenes to travel with them. But social media wise, it was Dussé was the one that pushed me, obviously, because I went from just starting Instagram to going on a bunch of tours. And like, I mean, if you scroll through my Instagram just a little bit, like when I was on tour, I was literally night after night, it was like celebrity, and I'm not a big like, hey, can we get a picture type of guy, or post or whatever. But there's certain aspects of in the moment you do it, or it's like, all right, I need this is like I met Ric Flair, I'm like, I gotta get a picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the Dussé one really started pushing only because I was literally, we're on tour, we're going from stop to stop, and people, and then like I said, the transition of my life was so big. It was going from like wearing a suit every day, or like, a jacket and like no, like a suit, no tie or whatever, or calling on these like liquor stores or bars and managing a distributor for meetings. And then next thing you know, I'm like, my outfit
Wearing nice clothes like this.
my outfit changes to like, black jeans, hoodies, Timberlands, and I'm running on tour with Jay-Z. So, and that time we were doing some wild ass after parties. So that's probably what pushed my social media. I even played around the podcast game for a little bit, joked around, and then with a Dussé Friday podcast, and it actually started to work, which was pretty funny. So this is
really
getting back on the bike right now. We did it for like almost 2 years. It was me, Memphis Bleak, and this guy Rel Carter, who's Jay's nephew.
No shit.
Because every Friday in the office, in the Rock Nation office, we call it Dussé Friday at like 5:30. We'd mix up cocktails for the entire office. We'd put, blast some music or just chill. And sometimes if it was someone's birthday, they'd have like cake or food, whatever. And it would turn into a Friday happy hour every single Friday. That was Jay's thing. He's like, Friday, 5:30, make the Dussé, and let, have a time. There were some nights that got a little crazy out of hand where we got reprimanded, but for the most part, it was his idea, and they did it before Dussé with other just regular brands. We switched it over to Dussé Friday, and we're like, there's so many like people coming through the office, like, fuck, let's just do a podcast and we'll just have them on, and which was a good idea but a bad idea because we're hammered half the time. But yeah, we started a podcast and did well. We were on Tidal. We did like we had Jay's mom on there. She had the whole story about her being a lesbian, raising like a son like Jay and all that stuff. But it was like when 444 came out. So there was one song about like Jay opened up that his mom was a lesbian, and he did I think an hour or 2 hour interview with like Elliot Wilson. And he asked him about it. He's like, that's my mom's story. My mom's got to tell it. That's not for me. And I literally hit up like his nephew. I'm like, yo, tell grandma she's got to come on the podcast. Like that. Then we blew up. We were in like the New York Post. It was crazy. It was really nuts.
No shit, man. I didn't even know that. That's really
we were all on the
man.
hip hop sites and stuff like that because it was basically like a major interview. Like,
yeah.
Actually, yeah. Bleak didn't do it because Bleak was like, no, that's like my grandma. I can't. He's like, I can't have. That'd be weird for me to be in there. So he sat that one out. So Jay's nephew and his kid, Nashon, who's tight with the family, did it. So there was like 3 idiots just interviewing her, but it worked. It was cool.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
So next weekend's the fight. You're not going. I'm assuming you're not going out to Abu Dhabi.
No, I didn't make the cut. I see my boy Robbie Fox going out there. I was like, damn you, Robbie, from
Barstool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. How do you know that guy? That's funny. He's like blowing up, man.
Yeah, he's. I mean, listen, I'm happy for him. When they say there's like good people on this earth and like solid people, Robbie is one of them. Like he is legit a good human being. I just met Robbie through my friends at Barstool. I had a bunch of friends in Barstool prior to meeting Robbie. Yeah. This kid Caleb, who I'm super tight with. So when he started doing the Conor stuff, we were doing the proper stuff around the Khabib fight. They put me in touch with him, but I'm not even sure if it was before. I think it might have even before that. I had met him. I brought Stipe in to do part of my take, and I might have gotten introduced to Robbie then. But we started like just I have a bunch of friends at Barstool. They got some good people working over there. Actually, and some friends are actually like super close. So, and I'm happy for that kid. He's as honest as they come as far as like he's a good kid.
I remember seeing him in like the proper 12 costume and shit, man. You know, like
yeah, he's come a long way. I don't think Barstool sales will allow him to do that.
Well, that's kind of like where I found out about him, because I'm not like really a Barstool guy. I watched the pizza reviews, but you know, and then when Conor was kind of jammed up with the Khabib thing, and he was outside like free Conor, right? That's first.
He did. I mean, you look at his thing. He did. He went out there and he hustled and he got himself in front. Now look, he's like Dana's go-to. Dana, like,
yeah,
he's Dana's guy. Like, Dana,
yeah. Well, I know Dana's been on his podcast. What's this called? My Mom's Basement or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, he's going to fight out, and that's all Dana. And I think Dana sees through me that he doesn't ask. He does it. He found a good way to do his interviews where it's like there's a lot of people asking the hard-hitting questions, like, you know, the like fighter pay, this stuff, and he's like, that's not my gig. That's not my thing. He's like, you have a fight this weekend or whatever. Let's talk about the fights. He's like, I'm not, you know, an investigative journalist. He's like, I just want to have a good time and focus on positive. And that's worked for him. And then, you know, it's needed. There's different styles of journalism or whatever it might be. And he's taken the positive approach. So nothing wrong with the other style, because those hard-hitting questions, as you know, need to be answered sometimes. That's just not him, and it's worked for him.
Yeah. You know, as far as with Dana goes, there's like a time and a place, though, because I feel bad for Dana, because dude, people try to ambush him with shit all the time too. So it's probably a break to do a podcast like that with Robbie from Barstool, because, you know, like things like fighter pay and stuff, they are interesting and they are stuff people should know about. But like when you're trying to promote a fight and people are like in the middle of you promoting a fight, they're like, how come this guy's not getting, like, I'm doing something here, man. You know, I feel for Dana, man, because I've met him a few times and he's always been super cool. So like, I feel for him.
Time and place, and people forget too, and it's not even a Dana thing. It's like, if you look at all the sports, it's like, it's a business. There's strategy, and people think they're kind of owed all the information, and you're not. Like, why should the UFC open up their books to the fans, or like, you know, like when a GM of a baseball or basketball team comes on the radio and asks them, like, you know, what's your plan or what are you going to do? Like, why would you give away your secrets? What are you doing? Like, you have a business to run. Like, yeah. I get it. It's like nonsense sports talk, but at the end of the day, it's like, what business person is going to give up their secrets?
Right. Yeah. So what do you think about this fight?
You're watching The Shamrock Show. A quick break from a word from our sponsors, the Second Chance Gym in Preston, Connecticut. Here's Jody Sheely, owner and trainer.
I just wanted to give you a little idea of what we're about here. It's an old school boxing gym. We train fighters from all levels, from amateur to pro. If you want to just learn the sweet science, you don't want to compete, that's fine, but we definitely would love to see you.
The Second Chance Gym is open weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. and 4 to 7 p.m. and it's where I train. Come on down and check out the Second Chance Gym. Tell them Shamrock sent you. You get a free day for free just to check it out and see if it's for you. Second Chance Gym, Preston, Connecticut. Check them out on Facebook.
It's the second time that Conor and Dustin have fought. Right now, he gained something from beating Dustin again. Yeah, and I'm not in love with the fight just because he starched him in a minute to begin with. So like, you're really probably not going to top that. Maybe you will, but it's more of a high risk, low reward kind of fight if you're Conor. But I think that's what shows why people like me like Conor, because he's a fighter and he's down to scrap. It's not like a win-win situation, you know what I mean? And that's what I like about him. I met Dustin. I spent a little time with him when he was up for Bellator. Really nice guy, but he gets a lot of credit for being a good boxer. I don't see it. Yeah. But what do you think about the fight? What's your take on it?
Listen, I think for what's out there and where they're at, I think it's a fight it's a good fight to take place. Obviously, a lot has changed and a lot has happened since the time they last fought. So, and then if you look at the rankings, it kind of makes sense. But listen, I just going off of, obviously people say it's a biased answer, but if you just look, like, Conor's in unbelievable shape. You can just, even if you see interviews with Kavanaugh, you can see the smile and just the positive vibe that they're talking about with the camp. And I think Kavanaugh said it in one interview, I forget, or probably said in a bunch of interviews. He's like, but it might have been, whatever. I think it was Kavanaugh. He's like, Conor's been training for over a year. Like he wanted to fight a bunch of times. It didn't work out that way with the pandemic or whatever, but it wasn't like he wasn't training. So he's in remarkable shape. Obviously, if you go to his social media, you can't because you don't have Instagram, but you can figure it out.
Yeah, he posted all on Twitter too, or other people.
He looks awesome. Like he's in great shape. So I'm confident. I think yesterday he said he's going to knock him out in 60 seconds. So, we'll see about that. But that's I think it's a good fight for Conor, and I think we all know what should happen next when he beats him. But get the rematch where you get this Conor in that cage. I think there's a good shot that you can beat him as well. But I think for this fight, I think it's the right fight. I think it's a good fight for both of them, for both fighters.
Yeah.
I just think Conor's in really, really, really good shape and good place.
Well, you could see the way he came out against Cowboy, and beating Cowboy at this point, it's a solid win, but it's not about the fact that he beat him. It's how he did it and how efficiently and how confident he looked and how smooth he looked. It's the Conor that came out that night. I wish that we had gotten to see that kind of Conor fight Khabib. Khabib's always going to be a tough matchup for him, and Khabib's a scary dude. But I know we didn't see that version of Conor that night. You know what I mean? So I hope that it does play out that way. I think that he will get Dustin out of there relatively early, and we'll see what happens with Khabib, if he's going to give him the rematch or not,
Yeah, I'll leave that up to like when you get audio on the podcast, he can talk about like upcoming fights and all that stuff. But I think it would be fun, and I think for us, from a business standpoint, from the proper world, it'd be great. Like anytime he fights, it's no matter who it is, it's good. It's obviously good for us. I think it's good for the UFC. It's good for the fight game. Like it's like there's that song. There's only one Conor McGregor. There really is. He's in. There's everyone else, and then there's Conor.
I love that song. I bought it on when it came out. I bought what's that kid's name or whatever. But I
used it the other day in some social media posts.
Mick Constantine. I'll probably throw that in on the outro on this episode. Now Proper 12 does a ton of donations and taking care of people. You guys donated over $1 million the last 2 years, correct? Was it 2 years in a row now that you guys have donated $1 million?
Yeah, so we donate for every case sold. We donate $5 to first responders.
Yeah,
and we do that throughout all over the world. It's not just like a U.S. thing or Ireland thing. We do it for everywhere we sell it. Russia, South America, Australia, wherever it is, where the case is sold, we donate them. We donate $5 per case. Our first year, we donated, I think it was $1.2 million. I think it was over $1 million just in the States alone. And then Conor does a ton of stuff on his own as far as helping with first responders, and he donated a bunch of gear when COVID first hit.
Yeah.
We did a joint charity thing with Tunnels for Towers with the One for All.
I got one of those shirts, extra medium.
So we did that. All those proceeds were sent to the Tunnel for Towers COVID fund. So not only what we say on the back of the bottle, we're giving more. Conor's giving a lot more. Even the Roots of Fight project that he has out right now. Conor is donating all his proceeds to charity, and then Jesse and the Roots of Fight team followed. So all profits made from that capsule is going to the charity. I think it's some kids club in Crumlin or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a charitable dude. Like everything, he's a fighter of the people. Loves his fans, but he also loves helping out. And that was important when we launched Proper. There was an element to that we would support first responders.
Speaking of that Roots of Fight deal, so Roots of Fight is my favorite brand. I always joke I've got a Hyundai hanging in my closet. Like I could get the amount of money.
You try to rival my collection, I think. Except we, and I always say yours is all paid for, so respect.
Yeah, man. Every time they drop something, I'm like, shit, I should block their email.
The beauty of their stuff is that it does last. Like it holds up. Like I have some stuff from when they launched. So I've known Jesse for all people don't know the guy behind and started Roots of Fight. His name's Jesse.
So that's what I was going to ask, how you knew
him.
So
him and I have been boys. I met him through a mutual friend. I was promoting like Jim Beam at the time.
Yeah.
And I had a buddy who was doing PR, and he was doing PR for UFC Magazine, but UFC Magazine wasn't run by the UFC. It was run by like some magazine company.
They just licensed out the name on it.
Yeah. So there was another buddy of my guy was like the head editor. I don't know his freaking title, but he was like the main guy at UFC Magazine. So we're like trying to figure out ways to like work together. So we're like, well, if we go to a UFC event, we can throw a party the night before. I'll sponsor it with Jim Beam. Meanwhile, I was only a bullshit rep in New York, but I was like figuring out ways to go to UFC fights for free.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we'll sponsor the party with Jim Beam. I launched Red Stag at the time. And then we would just throw this like party with UFC Magazine. But the word UFC was on it because the magazine was throwing the party. So all fighters would show up. We even had like one party in Boston. The Fertittas showed up. It was crazy. And we would just like throw these put all the stuff we were working on into this one party. But anyway, one of them was like Jesse, and like, oh, we'll do stuff at Roots of Fight. We'll get a couple shirts. We'll give it out, or we'll say it's a Roots of Fight viewing party or something. And that's how I met Jesse. We were just through a mutual friend, and we were doing some like bar promotions in New York, or I think the one I met him in New York. And I think at that time he didn't have much. I know he had like that Muay Thai shirt. I don't even know if he had any. I don't even know if he had any icons at the time.
Yeah.
And then he started adding Tyson, Ali, and it started to grow. But I've been with him from the beginning of Roots of Fight. So, and then, it's hard to explain, but I was always connecting him with certain people or putting it on athletes. I got Jay to wear it at a festival in LA. He had the Muhammad Ali shirt on. So I'm like, and then Beyonce. So I was putting his gear in the right people's hands. Beyonce wore it for like a Christmas video. Rihanna was wearing it all the time.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of Rihanna stuff.
So you can imagine for a company like that's on the just launching, like to have those stars wearing their gear. And for me, it was easy. It's like good. I mean, not easy to get Jay and them to wear it, but it was easy to give it to them because the stuff is cool. It's good. It's like,
right.
Why wouldn't they want to have it? So yeah, we just bond, became like, took that and became like really, really close friends. And along the way, just recently we got Cece involved. Cece's always been a fan, so I introduced Jesse to Cece, and then that in turn went to a collection for the Negro League Hall of Fame. And that idea blew up, and now they're coming out with more lines, and like, look what's going on with the Hall of Fame now. They're going to honor their records and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and it's going to be a yearly thing, an anniversary, because originally it was just for the 100-year anniversary of the Negro League. And now Cece's going to have, I think, a capsule eventually. Like I've been pushing them, we got to do that. So yeah, it's just like, we just work well together, he and I, and we've done so much stuff as far as like attending fights and having dinners and doing stuff with.
Well, I was excited to meet him. What was that at the BMF championship fight that when you introduced?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That was dope, man. He was super cool.
When you first met him, yeah, you first met him at that fight.
Yeah, but I've liked the gear for a long time. But this Conor McGregor Roots of Fight relationship, I mean, it seems like the perfect fit. How long were you like in Jesse's ear or Conor, like back, like? Were you trying to get that? I'm not sure if you were even involved in the deal, but I'm sure you were talking about it for probably since day one.
Not without divulging too much, because I don't want to get my ass in trouble.
Yeah.
I know
it's just me and you talking. Nobody's listening.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we got alcohol. I do stupid shit when I drink.
Yeah, have another drink.
Yeah. I think Jesse had been doing stuff, working on Conor stuff for a long time, as far as like just stuff in their head if they had the opportunity to work with them. Because I remember them showing me stuff way back when of like some ideas that they had that they were gonna like build a capsule. But as far as the big push, I think I connected him again. Now I looked at the email. I think it was like a year ago, just like December, almost a year ago. It was December, not this December, December but prior. I reconnected him and Audie via email. We might have like crossed paths somewhere, and that was why I reconnected them. I don't remember. But anyway, so they probably, from that moment, they've probably been working on this for over a year.
That's great, man. I would have appreciated a little heads up, but I was happy I was able to get in the first drop, because the stuff goes so fast.
Yeah, it's it happened a lot. A lot of the moving parts happened quickly, so obviously getting the charity involved. I'm sure they wanted to get it out before the fight, but I'm not gonna lie, it was very cool to see Roots of Fight was something that I've seen since it was like a baby, and then for Jesse to work with Conor and the team and those guys, it was there's some cool moments, and it'd be like, all right, that's pretty badass. Like that's cool to see, because it's just connecting two great people, great companies coming together, because Jesse does have an amazing team behind him, but Jesse is like my guy.
Yeah.
So just to see the power of Roots of Fight and Team McGregor come together, that's pretty badass. And I'm pretty sure that this is not going to be a one-off, because I know it's doing very well.
Yeah.
And as it should, like I said, all the profits are going to like charity, so why not?
I'm sure it's going to go well.
Plus, he makes some great gear. So.
And you guys make some great gear too. I don't know of. Right. Like I said, we both wore the same shirt today, but I got the little winter hat on Conor up here.
The hat's pretty good. It's not the greatest on my small ass bald head, but it works.
Yeah, no, I love it. It hasn't really been cold enough for me to wear it yet. I was gonna wear it for the podcast, but I figured I'd end up like sweating over it.
Yeah. No, that hat keeps you warm for sure. Yeah, we've listen. It's when you're coming out with and I learned it's even with Jay-Z, when you have like a big iconic figure behind it and is used to like dressing like Conor does and all that stuff, it's like you can't put out bullshit merch. You can't just like sleep on it. You gotta, and kudos to the marketing team. They do an awesome job. Like you can't just sleep on it. You got to make sure that it stands up not only to the brand but to the man behind it.
Yeah, and it definitely does, because like I remember when we first started working together for Sunsets, and I was asking you about T-shirts for giveaways, and you're like, we're going to be doing T-shirts, but they're not going to be those, Gildan's bullshit T-shirts, So, you did come through for the staff, and they're really, really nice. Where these other brands, they might give you a case of them, but they're garbage, iron-on, T-shirts.
It's not. You see that a lot in any space, but in the liquor space, getting less and less, I think, because I think people are paying. And Casamigos, actually, we mentioned them earlier. They did a good job, I think, earlier with it, making like merch, like instead of like those shitty bar T-shirts where you get on a promotion and they end up in your either you use it to like, especially from being up north, being here in the in the cold weather, like sometimes you'd be like, oh, you have to wipe your window off of the snow, and like, oh, I don't got anything. Like, I got this little like bullshit shirt in the back. It's important to come out with something that like you're not only you're it's comfortable, feels good, but you're proud to wear, and like almost like as stylish as also like it's cool. It's proper gear.
What's your favorite proper drink?
To be honest, I drink it. I got
just straight.
Proper on the rocks, yeah. Like that's my go-to. When I drank Dussé, I was drinking a lot of Dussé and ginger beer.
Oh, I hate ginger beer. I can't do it.
I mean, like a lot. And then we had this drink on the tour. We had this drink called the Code, where it was, and I had to stop. It's got way too sweet. It was Dussé, pineapple juice and amaretto.
Yeah.
So we called it the code, but we would get people twisted on that drink. Like it was like juice. But I probably gained like 25, 30 pounds from ginger beer and pineapple juice.
Well, that drink you were just talking about with the pineapple juice and the amaretto, that's on the drink list for 40/40. So when I was doing
For sure, yeah.
So when I was doing the drinks for spills, when I was making my drink list, I put that on there. I forgot what I called it, something else, but people were digging that, or just with straight pineapple. But yeah, I saw that drink on the 40/40. It's still to this day on their drink list. So
I would have been mad at you. If I would have known, I would have been mad at you for changing the name, because that's the code. That's the first drink we launched. Jay made it, and literally we wouldn't do any event, nothing. I don't care if it was anywhere we would go. We can do like 5 drinks, 2 drinks, 3 drinks. One of them had to be the code. We didn't do anything. We had, so like I said, we did four tours, and we'd have like a VIP area in the back, and then a VIP area on the floor for the people to like move around and watch a show, and then go back pre or post and like chill and hang out. We set up this bar, and we serve like certain drinks, but one of the drinks was batch. All we would do is keep all night, have like the bartenders and people batching that code. It was sweet as fuck, but it was so easy to drink, and people got twisted. There's a one night in New Orleans where we got destroyed. It's not like dropping a name. It's not even Chris Paul. It's Chris Paul, the basketball player. Chris Paul's brother was was with us. And that night, we must have went through like 7 cases of Dussé. Like even like Jay, I'll talk about it now. He's like, I don't know. He came into the room. He goes, I don't know what you guys were doing. He goes, but everyone was like blackout drunk. Like Chris Paul's brother doesn't even remember the night. I think I have a picture. I think I was with like Michael B. Jordan that night. It was nuts. Like it was something about the New Orleans air, and we just got hammered. So anyway, going back to you along with the question, when I drank proper, I am more of a whiskey bourbon guy. I worked with Beam back in the day. So I switched immediately right away. The liquid's so freaking good. I drink it on the rocks. It's really, to be honest, it's the only way I drink it, unless I go to a bar that's doing like a specialty cocktail and I'll try it. Yeah. But even then I'll go back to proper on the rocks. I had a lot of them on Sunday.
Nice. Yeah. So the first, I had it with Red Bull. You had a table at the casino that time. We went, not the time after the Bellator, but one of the other times. And it goes great with Red Bull, which surprised me. And then
because it's the sleeper is with tropical Red Bull's good, but regular Red Bull's great as well. Tropical Red Bull is actually a pretty good one.
Really, see, Red Bull's always trying to shove that down my throat, that yellow can. They're always trying to get me to carry that too. They wanted me to do some tequila.
Someone asked for it, so you'd have to promote it. So you're better off just pushing if you're a bar. Like screw it, just put it with regular Red Bull. But if you're having it at home or you're going to the store, get the tropical Red Bull and give it a try.
My drink that I made at Sunsets, and I'll order it wherever I go, is I'll do proper Peachtree ginger ale splash of OJ. I called it the Champ, and we sold 1 billion of them. But that's my drink wherever I go, man. It's a little sweet, but I'll rock with that if I'm not doing shots, because I probably do more shots of it than anything. But you know,
no, I love it.
You know where that leads.
Yeah. I've been with you. We've had some shots. We've had some nights where we had a few shots. I miss those Mohegans, those Mohegan Sun trips.
Yeah, hopefully sooner rather than later, man. But I don't know what the future looks like. I won't keep you all day, but I did want to ask you, like, how bad has COVID affected business? Like with New York being closed, I had Sean from the Rabbit on the show, and then we went up to the Dead Rabbit for they were open for like 2 weeks, and we went to go see them, and they were like devastated. But how rough has it been on the brand having everything in New York closed?
It's crazy. Like just from the brand standpoint, we're lucky where Conor has such a big fan base. We have such a strong presence in the liquor stores, so we're doing okay.
We have all these nice displays.
Yeah, I just said I love that. Like he'll scare me sometimes. I'll pop into we went into our office, and sometimes we have him like standing in the front of the door. You just open the door and be like, you take a step back.
I do that to people at the bar too when I leave for the night, and I don't come in early, and I'll put it behind the door.
Well, our friend, our social media friend, one of the Proximo, one of the reps at sells proper down in Tampa. We'll give Jennifer a shout out.
Oh yeah, we gotta give Jen a shout out. She's
Yeah,
always showing love. She was, when I posted we were doing this, she was upset we didn't invite her on.
Yeah. She's got to listen. She's got to put in some work. She's been selling the brand for I think she's been approximately a year and a half. She's a killer down there in Tampa or the West Coast, because she does more than just Tampa. But she would tell me once, like she had like bringing those displays to a liquor store. So she had like a few of them in the back, sat back in her car, started the car, looked in the rearview mirror and fucking jumped, because she's like, wait, there's a dude in my, scared the crap out of her. I'm like, it's just Conor just chilling in the back. Jennifer's she's one of the best. So we're doing okay, and the stores are doing well. We have a great presence in the store, so can't complain over there as far as for our brand. I know there's a lot of other brands. I have some friends in the business that were like, I have one buddy who has a tequila, like a hustler, straight hustler, kills it, does everything by himself, started a tequila, or partnered with this woman that had a tequila. But his relationships were literally 95% on premise. So he was in some of the best places across the country as far as restaurants and bars, like in the big ones. Like he was like a big LA, New York, like Miami guy. And boom, just like that, brand is basically like shutting off the brand. Like, cause he doesn't have a celebrity behind him. He doesn't have like, he hadn't been out long enough to build that like repeat business. He needed to be like at a place like yours on the drink list to like generate sales. So, obviously having an owner like Conor and being part of a brand that's, so well known so fast, we're in a different spot. But just being from the business, I've been doing this for like 20 years. And to see so many friends like that have bars and restaurants, I do it every day. Like I'll speak to someone and it's just like shit. Like, but then, you'll hear some good stuff come out of it. Like, this that gives you hope. Like a buddy, there's this place called McManus Pub. When's this thing dropping? I don't want to be breaking news or anything.
No, I'm gonna put it out next Monday for good. For fight week. Yeah.
All right, so there will be good. So I'll tell the story then. So my buddy McManus Pub, I think it's 19th and 7th in Manhattan. Amazing, really cool, authentic Irish pub. I think I'm getting this right. It's the oldest family-owned bar in New York City. So been around forever. I think I watched his. So anyway, he had called me up and he was like asking me some advice, because I know you know the guys over at Barstool. They're doing the video for the Barstool Fund, which is an amazing thing that's going on right now. We can talk about that for a second. He's like, what do you suggest? Like, what should I do with the video or whatever? And I told him, I'm like, buddy, you have the story. There's nothing to make up. Like, it's a family-owned business. You've been around forever. You're an iconic spot in New York City. Sit down and tell your story. Your story sells because it's the truth. And he sent me the video. He showed it to me. He goes, what do you think? I'm like, it's perfect. He's like, tells us the story, how the bar survived. His grandfather owned it. His grandfather fought in World War II. His dad owned it, and they survived the 70s. Blackouts, storms, Hurricane Sandy, all the shit that this bar has been through. And he's like, now the legacy sits with me, and I don't want to let my family down. So I'm like, I wrote back, that's it, done. Nothing, no bells, no whistles. You sitting at the bar telling your story is legit. I think it took a day and a half, 2 days. He sent me a text yesterday with a screenshot with him and Dave Portnoy. He's like, holy shit.
That's sick, man.
Called. So, as we're talking, it'll probably drop by the time this comes out. But as we're talking now, it hadn't been released. I hit up Dave yesterday. I'm like, dude, you're like, what you're doing. I mean, I've already told them what I thought about the fun. Yeah. I go, but you're just helping an amazing family, bro. It's like, I'm like, I thought Penn stock going at 100, hitting 100 was like a cool thing.
Yeah.
I go, but you're helping a big family. And he wrote back, he started laughing. It's like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he hit up, I've seen in the news, no places that I know, but 3 restaurants in Connecticut too, man. That's like really badass how they've come through with all this money for these different places that are struggling.
It's fucked up that it's takes him and them to do it.
Right.
But just shows you their power. And like, it was a $500,000 like shot at them. They're like, hey, put your money where your mouth is. And look,
Yeah.
who knows where they'll be when this drops. They're at like 22 million right now. And
Yeah.
but anyway, so I was saying, like, being in the business for 20 years, you hear so many stories, and like now it's daily. It's like, you know, it sucks. And as you know, there's no better industry than the hospitality industry. You mean, you own bars, you know, the people that, like, what people go through, to the bartenders, the staff, the barbacks, whoever it might be. You're dealing with real, authentic people with like, everyone has their own story, but these are, I mean, it's like hardworking people, and for the most part, we're fun. It's like a fun industry too. So there's like this industry is filled with so much positivity. Like, obviously we all deal with our drama. You own bars, you know, like the, you know, people calling out and like, oh, come on, like it's a Friday night, busiest night, and now I'm going to be down a bartender. But we're dealing with fun, cool, real people. Like, I used to always say early days, like, why do I got to wear a fucking suit as my work attire? I'm like, I'm going to talk to people in jeans and a hoodie.
Right.
I look like an idiot. Like, what do you, like, I get your corporate like thing, but I feel stupid. And now I get to wear, like, you know, jeans and a hoodie, and I'll dress up when I need to. Yeah. So like, long story short, the brand, we're lucky with the brand's doing good. So that's what we're going to try and help, you know, other people with the charities and stuff. But yeah, it's a tough go, as you know. I mean, you're dealing with it. It's not easy. It's hopefully things turn around. But it's not, you know, certain places aren't making it as easy.
Well, I saw Conor wearing a shirt the other day, and it couldn't be truer. It said "Whiskey helps." You know,
Sure.
so,
Yeah, it does. Like, listen, I'm gonna pour a little glass. I'll have some more with you.
Yeah.
This, like I said, this is a long time coming. You've been asking me to do this for a long time.
Well,
Not that I didn't want to. It's just that, you know, I think actually is good. Now's the right time.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I wanted to do it in person, though. That's what to be honest. So your viewing audience or listening audience, we wanted to do it in person. That was the main thing. Yeah,
and COVID messed all that up. But hey, this works. At least it saves you the drive, and we'll link up soon.
Well, no, I want to come out with the next time. I want to do it again live, and then we'll go. We'll hit up New Haven for some pizza.
All right, brother. I appreciate your time. Cheers. What's your prediction? I'm going Conor.
If the man said, listen, Mystic Mac, if he says Conor in 60 seconds, it's 60 seconds. What do you think? I'll say what do you think.
I was going to say round one, but you know, I mean, he definitely could get him out of there in 60 seconds, but I think he's too smooth, too quick, too technical. Dustin throws big punches, but he throws them like fucking here, you know what I mean? And Conor's just so, you know, I think Conor's got him, and we'll be all drinking lots of proper on Saturday night.
Listen, I'll cheers to that.
Cheers, man. Yo, thank you. Thanks for coming through, man. Appreciate it. Nice shirt.
Brother. We'll talk.
All right, man. Later.
Later, brother.
The Shamrock Show.
A kid from Dublin with more than a dream. He knew one day he'd be the king of the UFC. Oh, with a group of fighting Irish not to be pushed over. Not here to take part, they were here to take over. And from the start, John Kavanagh by his side. Whoever thought they'd be known worldwide after 60 G's, baby, and a contract to sign, leaving his old life and the social welfare behind. And after 2 years came the featherweight champion of the world, and Conor said he'd make him look like a little girl. It only took 10 seconds to show his talk wasn't cheap as he connected with the left and put Aldo to sleep. There's only one Conor McGregor, and there's the fighter there, and he's gonna knock out Floyd Mayweather. So Floyd, watch out, 'cause the Irish are coming. You can talk all you want, but you'll do nothing. Only one Conor McGregor, and there's the fighter.
You can lead an Irishman to water, but don't try and put it in his drink. Pour up our number 12 Irish whiskey. Shalanta.